For little children, do you like dancing for little children? You don't think that's disgusting? Dancing around for little children?
Away from me.
Don't you think that's disgusting?
I need you to
You don't think that's...
Get the f away.
Well, good morning, y'all. It is time to correct the record on something, and I'm hoping that once I do, we'll all understand each other a little better. All right, so here's the jam. I called my Congressman William Timmons, and I told him about the book that was in my child's library, George. We'll read an excerpt of George here in just a second. What Congressman Timmons did was he contacted the governor about that book, but not only that, in our conversation, I strawmanned him so hard before we got into that conversation that I thought he was one of the monsters here in this town. But during that conversation, he showed me that he was not, and that the things that I was about to put out about him, well, those were wrong, and it'd be wrong to attack him like that, and therefore I didn't do that. What I did do, though, is I gave the conversation to a third party. Yikes. We'll get to that. Cheese and crackers. But here first is the excerpt of the book, George, and why this is so very important.
She immersed her body in the warm water and tried not to think about what was between her legs. But there it was, bobbing in front of her. "That's it," Scott grinned, oblivious to George's panic. "That's my little bro, growing up and looking at dirty magazines. Hey, Rick, it looks like someone's finally start to grow some balls." There was nothing George dreaded more than when boys talked about what was in her underpants. "Dude, I thought you had porn or something in there, so I took a peek." "So, like, do you want to," he made a gesture with two fingers like a pair of scissors, "go all the way?" George squeezed her legs together. "Maybe someday," she said. "I didn't even know you had any skirts," said George. "I don't wear them to school. Boys are dirty and try to look up them." Melissa took off her own underwear, stepped into Kelly's, and pulled it up under her skirt. Other than the coolness of the fabric on her skin, she could barely tell she was wearing anything at all. She lifted her skirt to see her underwear, covered in tiny red hearts. She pulled it down, sat, and peed just like a girl.
Okay, we are going to check out what the third party did with the conversation that Congressman Timmons and I had. Third party, don't trip. This is exactly how I had him in my mind when I made the first phone call with him. And it wasn't until he straight up was like, "You're a strange man." I was like, whoa, that was honest. And then he was like, "Yo, this is really in AJ Wittenberg," and it just took me back. I was like, man, I messed up. Cheese and crackers, it was bad. But here it is. Here is how Congressman Timmons was portrayed.
What's the name of the book?
The name of the book is George. This is K5 through 5.
I had sex ed when I was in 6th grade. I mean, yeah. I feel like some of this stuff, I mean, definitely in college it's important to appreciate different points of view. But, I mean, at some point people are going to get this on the internet and on Instagram and on TikTok and whatever. So
if somebody says a boy can be a girl and a girl can be a boy, this is the most insane, postmodern, ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
But there are literally people that have medical degrees that disagree with.
Now look, I've been told this is just politics and blah, 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 but it's kind of difficult for me because of everything that I do. I put context into it. And I can show you that by also showing you he is not the evil or the monster in this town like these other people are. So when I did the video about Nico White, I can just use her own words. I mean, look at him, cheese and crackers, and she's in the chamber. Get out of there. Russell Stahl, you can just use his imagery and his own words.
Do not burn bridges in this town, because if you do, you will pay dearly.
And of course, Mr. Spratt, yes, I used his own words because I went to him and he lied to me about not knowing anything about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And social emotional learning. I even gave Mr. Spratt the opportunity to come to the table and put context into his tweets. So if you would like to come to my table, Mr. Spratt, and perhaps when we do that, we can decide at that moment to put context back into everything we do. So all I'm saying is this. If you're going to do ads like that, you're going to get people questioning you like this. So come on, let's just use the words that are said. I hope, Congressman Timmons, this puts the record straight.